Linda sat on the edge of the bed, staring at her reflection in the dim glow of the bedside lamp. Her face, once smooth and vibrant, now bore the fine lines of time. She ran her fingers through her hair, sighing as she noticed how much thinner it felt. It wasn't just the physical changes that weighed on her. It was everything. The unpredictable mood swings, the suffocating anxiety, the restless nights spent tossing and turning. And then there was Mask, her husband of 23 years, whose presence felt more distant than ever. The silence between them had become more pronounced in recent months. It was an unfamiliar chasm, one that seemed to widen with every whispered argument and unspoken thought. They had always been close, partners in everything, lovers, best friends. But now, she felt like a stranger in her own home, lost in a body and mind she no longer recognized. One evening, after yet another sleepless night, Linda sat across from Mask at the dinner table. The clatter of silverware filled the void between them. She could feel his eyes on her, hesitant yet searching. Finally, he spoke. "Linda, are you okay?" She forced a smile, but it crumbled under the weight of her emotions. "I don't know," she admitted. "I feel like I'm losing myself." Mask put down his fork, his brows knitting together in concern. "Losing yourself how?" Tears welled in her eyes. "I don't sleep. I snap at everything. I feel invisible. And I know you feel it too." Mask exhaled, rubbing his temples. "I do feel it. I just don't know how to help." The words stung, though she knew he meant no harm. She wanted him to understand, to somehow bridge the gap between them. But how could she explain something she barely understood herself? Weeks passed, and their marriage felt like a fragile thread, stretched taut. The intimacy they once shared had become a memory, and every time she pulled away from his touch, she saw the hurt flicker in his eyes. She wasn't rejecting him. She was rejecting this new version of herself, the one she didn't recognize. One night, after another distant dinner, Linda found herself curled up in the argère of their bedroom, staring out into the dark. Mask walked in, hesitant, before finally speaking. "I miss you," he said softly. She swallowed hard. "I miss me too." He sat beside her, his hand covering hers. "I don't know what you're going through, Linda, but I want to. I want to understand." She hesitated, then whispered, "I'm afraid you'll stop loving me. Afraid I'll push you away until there's nothing left." Mask shook his head. "I love you. That hasn't changed. But we need to talk about this, not let it pull us apart." Linda took a shaky breath. "I read about it. Menopause. It changes everything. My body, my emotions, my mind. I feel out of control. I don't know how to fix it." Mask nodded. "Then we figure it out together." The vulnerability in his voice cracked something open in her. For the first time in months, she felt a glimmer of hope. From that moment, they began to navigate the changes as a team. Mask read articles, listened to her frustrations, and supported her in ways she hadn't expected. He didn't push when she withdrew, but reminded her he was there. She, in turn, tried to communicate, even when it was difficult. Slowly, they found new ways to connect, holding hands during walks, talking late into the night, learning to love each other through the uncertainty. But healing was not linear. There were still nights when Linda lay awake, overwhelmed by waves of doubt and sadness. There were mornings when she found herself snapping at Mask over the smallest things, only to regret it moments later. Yet, through it all, he remained patient, reminding her that she was not alone. One day, Linda decided to seek professional help. She met with a therapist who specialized in menopause and women's health. The sessions helped her process her emotions, giving her tools to manage her anxiety and mood swings. She started practicing meditation, adjusting her diet, and even considering hormone therapy. Slowly, she found moments of peace within the storm. Mask, too, made an effort. He attended a support group for spouses of women going through menopause, where he learned that he was not alone in his confusion and frustration. Hearing other husbands talk about their struggles helped him realize that his role was not to fix Linda, but to stand by her, love her, and adapt alongside her. One afternoon, while cleaning the attic, Linda stumbled upon an old shoebox filled with letters and photographs from their early years together. She sat on the dusty floor, flipping through the memories, smiling faces, handwritten notes, remnants of the love that had built their marriage. She felt a lump rise in her throat as she realized how much of herself she had lost in the battle with menopause, and how much of their love she had been too tired to notice. That evening she brought the shoebox down and placed it on the dining table in front of Mask. He looked at her curiously before opening the lid, pulling out a faded Polaroid of them on their honeymoon. "I forgot about these," he said, a nostalgic smile tugging at his lips. "I almost did too," Linda admitted, "but I don't want to forget. I don't want to lose us." Mask reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. "We're still here, Linda, and we still have time to remember." From that night on, they made a promise to reclaim their love in small, intentional ways. They planned weekend getaways, danced in the living room like they used to, and made room for laughter, even in the midst of Linda's difficult days. It wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. One evening, as they sat on the back porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Linda turned to him. "Thank you for staying," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Mask looked at her, surprised. "Where else would I go?" Tears filled her eyes. "I was scared you'd give up." He took her hand in his. "You're my wife, Linda. We've built a life together. This is just another chapter, maybe a hard one, but still ours to write." For the first time in years, Linda felt truly seen. She realized that menopause was not the end of who she was. It was just another transition, another evolution of herself. And through it all, she still had Mask, still had love, still had hope. As they sat there, fingers intertwined, Linda took a deep breath and let herself believe in the future.